So I'm here with Jamie Thompson today, who has been an Australian youth player, represented Australia on a number of occasions, now is at the top of the open scene as well. So Jamie, how did you take up bridge?
So it's been in my family for quite a long time. I was surrounded by hand records and everything else growing up. My dad played, my uncle and auntie play. So I kind of just naturally fell into it. I could have learnt when I was very young, like about 5 or 6, but I think my dad attempted to, but I really had no interest when I was that age. It was when I was about 11 or 12 that I suddenly, this looks pretty interesting. So I went along with my dad to a Congress one day, and I just couldn't stop watching, and I learnt, and I fell in love with the game pretty quickly. Yeah.
So after school, what did you do when you finished schooling?
I went straight to uni. I did a year and a half of a science degree, not really knowing what I wanted to do. And at that time I was playing a lot of bridge, and I couldn't really juggle both of them. So I chose bridge, and that's what I've been doing for the past almost 6 years. Playing bridge professionally, teaching and directing.
And this was mostly in Melbourne, wasn't it?
Mostly in Melbourne, yeah. I've been in Sydney now for the past couple of years. Yeah. And
how do you compare Sydney and Melbourne?
The bridge scene is definitely much bigger in Sydney, as most people know. If you want to make it as a quote unquote bridge bum, Sydney's where you want to be. But I'm a Melbourne boy at heart, so Melbourne will always be better for me.
And you referred to your relatives, so just tell us who a couple of those are and what their positions are in bridge.
So my dad is David Thompson. He was a former Australian youth player, and then he kind of stopped playing. He got into the admin side of things, especially view graphing. Early on, view graph, he played a heavy role in Australia, especially, kind of taking charge of that. And my uncle is Ben Thompson, who has been on the Australian Open team a few times. He definitely plays a lot more. And his wife, Jenny, is my auntie. She's been on the Australian women's team a few times as well. So they're my main, they're like my direct, relatives.
And what overseas trips have you had for bridge?
Okay. Ever since I was 14, back in 2011, I've been on an overseas trip every year, representing Australia. I've been, all over Asia, all over Europe. Been very lucky to be in that position. So. Yeah.
And how do you find Australian bridge compares to overseas bridge?
It's our Australian style is definitely different to overseas. I would say that we are comparatively weaker to the rest of the world, given that we're a bit isolated over here. The Europeans get to play each other all the time, so they're definitely stronger. Same thing in America. There's lots of strong players in America, lots of bridge players, lots of tournaments all the time. We at the moment I would say that we're weaker, but I feel like there's something coming. I feel like we could definitely make our mark in the next few years. Yeah. And
would you consider moving to America like Ishmael did, for example, to be professional? Or?
If an opportunity presented itself, sure. I wouldn't complain about making bridge my full-time profession, like if I had a good setup. But yeah, that's we'll wait and see. I think for that to happen, I would really want to have a real professional partnership. Me and my partner really working on it and getting hired. Like that would be the ideal scenario. Yeah.
And systems, do you believe in a lot of systems or more systems or less systems? What would you prefer?
Yeah, I think I would say the simpler the better. I think most of your wins at the table come from good defence and good declarer play. Defence especially, so you want to have firm defensive agreements with your partner. And I guess the problem with system overload is that, if it's for a very minor pickup, at the risk of forgetting system, it might not be worth it in the long run. So I have played a lot of system in the past. My last serious bridge partner we played lots and lots of system, and there were times where I would forget, he would forget, and it's just 10 imps out for no reason. When if you just did the normal thing, in the long run it might be better. But I think that system is good if it's logical. So the more logical your continuations and structure is, the easier it is to remember. So if you're putting like very niche bids into your system, those are the ones that are easier to forget. So.
And so for the club player who wants to do better and come to congresses and do better, what would be the one part of the system that you would suggest to them?
One part of the system that I would suggest, I think if you're not playing 2/1 game forcing, that's probably the next natural step. I think 2/1 it's very easy to transition from standard to 2/1. Everyone knows standard, and it's that easy to just say, one spade, two clubs is game forcing. It really solves a lot of problems, and it kind of it relieves a bit of that stress after it goes, say, like one spade, two hearts, three hearts. Is that forcing or is that non-forcing? Is my next bid a Q bid? It's like if you play game forcing, 2/1 game forcing, it's easy. It simplifies the auction. Yeah.
And what about the one spade, one no trump?
Yeah.
Bid, how do you play that into it?
I have always played that as a semi-forcing bid, so not 100% forcing. It could be up to 11 points. I would say that's how I normally play it with my partners. So what it means is, for the hand that your partner opens a spade and you're in standard bidding, you could bid like two clubs to say 10 plus points. Obviously, you can't do that anymore. You need to be game forcing. So with that hand, you have to respond with one no trump, right? So rather than 6 to 9, that this becomes like 6 to 11. And so it means that the opener, if they've got 13 or 14 points, they might be put into a bit of an awkward position. They might have to, make up a new suit if they want to keep the auction going. But it really comes with experience to try to decipher that kind of situation. Most of the time, if it goes a spade and no trump, the opener, if they've got just a basic opening hand, they can just pass it. If they've got a second suit, they can bid their second suit. It's just, yeah. And
is there any particular system that you hate?
Any particular system that I hate? Hate's a pretty strong word. I don't think I hate any system. I think like a forcing pass can be annoying to play against. I don't know if you've ever played against a forcing pass system before, but there's a bid, the pass itself, when your opponent passes to say that they've got a strong hand, that in itself isn't that bad to deal with. It's their bid that they make when it shows like 0 to 7 points. Most forcing pass players play like a one heart opening to say that they've got 0 to 7 points and anything. So that's the only thing that could be a bit awkward to deal with. And I guess some weird two openings. Some people play that like two diamonds is like these two suits or another two suits. Any two opening, any weak two opening that has unanchored suits can be awkward to deal with. Yeah.
So do you play two diamonds as a natural, or how do you play two diamond opening?
I go, these days, I like to play two diamonds as a multi-two, but a weak, quite a weak version. So
Okay.
like about 3 to 7 points and without a strong option. So that's how I play it with a couple of my partners.
So what would a two heart opening be?
Yeah, so that leaves a two heart and a two spade opening to show 6, but 8 to 11, so slightly stronger than a regular weak two. So that's pretty common these days. But I've also played two diamonds as just a regular weak two. I love a weak two in diamonds. It's it's up to you. And of course Flannery. I'm a big fan of Flannery. If I can find a partner to play it with me, it's I love it. It's my favourite convention.
And you're sitting here now because you've already qualified straight into the semi-finals.
Yeah, straight in the semis.
So the other players, the 3 through to 6, are playing off against each other to get two. So first and second automatically go through.
That's right.
3 to 6 are playing off to get the 2 places to play against you in the semi-finals this afternoon.
That's right.
So for those players, it's quite a long day, isn't it? They've played 24 this morning, and I think 36 this afternoon.
That's right. That's right.
Sort of overseas, that's not heard of, playing 70 boards at a day. I mean, World Championships, you play, particularly with a 6-man team, you play about 32 boards a day sort of thing. So
that's right. That's right. So that's like a big advantage of playing on a 6-person team, of course, that you get to have a bit of a break. I'm playing on a 4-person team, of course, so I'm very glad to have the morning off and just get to chill out, get in the zone. But yeah, we do play a lot of bridge here. But yeah, you're right. When you go overseas, when you're playing World Championships, 6-person teams are the way to go, definitely.
And in conclusion, is there anything about, what would you recommend to people about bridge?
Like getting into bridge, or
yes, well, I mean, it's obviously been a big part of your life, etc. Is there an aspect of bridge that you feel is important? Partnership relationship, for example. Do you think being good friends with your partner is important?
I mean, you don't strictly have to be. I think with bridge, a lot of people have different opinions about what the most important quality in the best bridge player is. I am a firm believer in being a good partner. Bridge is such a tough game, and it's made even tougher because you have a partner that you're working together with, and we're all human, right? So we've got these emotions that we've got to deal with at the table, away from the table. So I think it's all about communication, being good at your post-mortems, because of course you've got to go over the bad boards, but it's the way that you go over the bad boards can really make or break a partnership. And so, yeah.
So having been in lots of teams and represented Australia a lot of times, how important is the team atmosphere, or really your 3 pairs? Is it the best 3 pairs makes the best team, or is there something to team?
No, you make a great point. It's not necessarily the 3 best pairs that will make the best team, It's team morale, team chemistry is a massive thing, and that also comes from partnership as well. So, I've fortunately been part of great teams, and I've been exposed to, what good team morale can do. And, we've all got each other's backs. You're not being nitpicky about a hand that your partners, that your teammates played, or what was your option on this board, It's those types of comments that, can be seen as passive aggressive, and, once there's like a little bit of, you plant that seed of like, do you fully trust your teammates? Suddenly things can go quite sour. So, but I think another thing that makes a great team is a great captain, a captain, a non-playing captain can really set the tone for the team, it's, and I've also been blessed with good captains in the past.
And what about yourself as a team captain for other teams?
Captain? I mean, I've been a playing captain for the Victorian youth team a couple of times. Being a playing captain is very hard. It's very hard. Because, if I had it my way, I would play all the time. I'd love to play every board, and have things in my own hands, but that's not really the way you should go about it when you're a playing captain. You want to give everyone a shot, So if I had a choice, I wouldn't be a playing captain. It's I'd much rather have somebody else calling the shots. I don't have to stress about lineups, systems, everything else. I'd much rather just get to the table, focus on the bridge, and that's why having a good non-playing captain is pretty important for a good team. Yeah.
And in conclusion, have you met any big superstars of bridge that we know? Yeah. I've played a few times in America, even in my youth days. I'm not youth anymore, unfortunately, but playing World Youth Championships, I've played against some players that have gone on to now, be on open teams. So like the Rimstead brothers in Sweden, I've been playing against them for 10 years now.
I first played against them when I was 15 in the under-21s, and they've obviously cultivated their partnership, and they've become one of the best pairs in Europe. They routinely play the American nationals. They play on the Swedish Open team. They're great. I've played against a lot of good players. I played against Loria and Versace, pretty strong Italian pair, well known. I beat them, just by the way. I've played against Bill Gates at the table. That was a pretty surreal experience. But some of these household names, Mexstroth, Rodwell, Levin, Weinstein. I've met them, and it's been pretty cool to rub shoulders with the greats. Yeah.
Thank you very much for today,
my
and I hope you go on and win this. It's just another tournament and a great lineup of tournaments you've had, and we look forward to you leading Australia very much in the future, and some of your younger friends. I think there's a bit of a shifting of the guard at the moment, hopefully, and away from the older generation, and perhaps we'll become a bit more internationally competitive.
Yeah, definitely. That's the plan.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Jay.
Peter.